In Nebraska, one of the what would you call it, scenarios by which Joe Biden wins the election is if Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, the so-called blue states, all go for Biden. All the other swing states go for Trump. But if those three states go for Biden, and Biden wins Nebraska's 2nd district, then he becomes president by essentially one vote. Here's how it works. 48 of the 50 states in the Union award all of those states' electoral college votes to whoever wins the majority of the votes in the state. So, if Biden beats Trump by 1 point or 20 points, it doesn't matter, in Michigan, for example, then all of Michigan's electoral college votes go to Biden. There's 2 states that the exceptions to this rule, Maine and Nebraska. And in Nebraska, it's got one electoral district that is basically Omaha. And in Maine, there's one that's like the populated South. And so Maine and Nebraska tend to split their vote. There tends to be one electoral vote for Trump and one electoral vote for Biden. And so Nebraska, what they're talking about doing, the Republicans in Nebraska who control the state, they're talking about doing away with that separation so that all of the votes in Nebraska go for whoever wins the state, which of course would be Trump. It's a red state. So now, in response to this, the Democrats who control Maine are saying, okay, if you do that, we're going to do that. In other words, we'll make all of Maine go. So Trump will lose that one vote he'd have in Maine if Biden loses that one electoral college vote that he would have in Nebraska. So keep an eye on this. It's high stakes. I mean, it's just crazy that we're even having this conversation. That the Electoral College is a stand-in for your and my votes. That the last Republican president who was initially elected by the people with a majority of the votes in the United States was in 1988, and it was George Herbert Walker Bush. No Republican has been elected president with the majority of votes initially. I get it, George W. Bush had a majority for his re-election, but he never would have been standing for re-election if he had not been, put in by the Supreme Court in 2000. So anyhow, it's just fascinating how the Republicans are doing everything they can to manipulate the Electoral College because their philosophy: if you can't win, cheat. It's very simple. Power at all costs. I'll pick up your calls right after this.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
Defending America from the weapons of mass deception. I'll be right back with your calls.